Hey everyone, welcome to the Your Future on Merit podcast. My name is Will Koning. I am the CEO and co-founder of Meritt. We're joined today by one of my very first students at my previous academy, Lucas Hale. Lucas has been working with me over the last 4 years. Initially joined me as a student at SAS Leeds and has worked all his way through working at some of the most exciting tech startups here in the UK. Welcome, Lucas. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Will. I'm good. Nice to be
Yeah,
here.
thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it's a nice and early one for us. So yeah, look, we love to just get this podcast started. It's all about how we break into sales and what's going on in the sales space. I was wondering, Lucas, how did you get into sales and how did you convince your parents this was a great career path as opposed to doing something more sensible like being a lawyer or a doctor or a
Yeah,
accountant?
well,
Ugh.
I did try a few other things first. I did marketing at university for my undergrad degree, and then I studied for a few years doing strength and conditioning, which is like gym training and personal training for athletes. And while I did that, I worked full time at a sports centre at Bath University, which was like quite a challenge doing both at the same time. And then I kind of got to the end of that, realised I didn't want to go into there, and I'll be honest, I can't remember why I applied for a sales job. I saw the salary was good, and I just thought, sod it up, I'll just apply. And then I started getting interviews in for SDR jobs and other sales roles, and thought it was quite good. Like I'm dyslexic, so I did well at uni, but anytime I had to speak, I did really, really well at uni. So I thought, sounds like speaking and talking for a living is probably a good shout.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair enough. What was it when you were going from like marketing, say, into sales? Like typically most people go from sales into marketing as an example. What was that kind of like journey like?
Yeah, it was interesting because it's very different, but it's also very similar. I think about like marketing can be seen as doing sales at like a mass scale. So you're talking about how do you have an individual conversation with 1,000 people, and that's very much the way it's going in the future with like AI and those kind of technologies where marketing can do that. And that was a key thing in my undergrad degree. And then coming into sales, it's just, well, how do we do that, but just to an individual person and have that conversation with that person rather than trying to create the same experience for 1,000 or 100,000 people.
Hmm, that's interesting. What would you say to someone, now looking back, you've done this journey. What would you say to someone that's maybe done a marketing degree, considering a sales career, and they're on the fence? What would you say for and against?
Yeah, definitely. I say with against, it's demanding. It's the very different demand. You are there physically, personally in front of someone, and that is scary and is hard because you have that very personal rejection every single time. And there is a hell of a lot of it. For the four, it is incredibly rewarding, especially if you're working at a good tech company and you're doing cool things. Like seeing and having that direct engagement with a product or a service that is having a positive benefit on someone and it's helping their business or helping them personally, that is 100 times more rewarding than you'd get from doing a nice marketing campaign or a cool ad.
Nice. So on one hand, the cons are that it's a lot harder work than marketing or what you were least
Yes.
expecting it to be. Um, it sounds like you need to be a lot more resilient. But on the other hand, it's significantly more rewarding working
Yeah,
with individuals. Is that right?
absolutely, and financially as well. I'm definitely in a financially better position than I would be if I was still in marketing.
Absolutely. I think that's something we forget on this podcast that, in sales, we're here to make money, right? Like we're here to solve a pain, deliver value for our customers in
Yeah,
exchange for money,
we get.
right? And I think that's
Yeah,
something
I
really
think it was
exciting.
something you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said to me a couple of years ago when I was first starting that you go through that suck and you have to maintain the resilience and the kind of keeping up with calling and the rejection and putting loads of work for a deal just to have it fall flat on its face because you get rewarded well. And
Explain
it's
that
great
suck in
because
more detail. What do you mean by that?
everything from spending 3 hours cold calling, being told to fuck off, being screamed at down the phone, having people hang up on you. Almost more demoralizing is not even having anyone pick up all day or for a week straight
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you don't even have a chance to attempt to speak to someone. Or, I've worked on some big enterprise deals that you spent weeks and months building and going through the awful processes they have just to be cut down because the pricing was wrong or there was some stupid feature that we didn't have for whatever reason, and that is really awful.
Yeah. I think we call it the suck. I also call it like the pit of despair. And
Mm.
every SDR goes through it. And if you're an SDR listening to this right now and you're thinking, oh my God, is it worth it? And you're going through this, pit of despair, it's entirely normal. I don't know a single SDR that doesn't go through this at least once. Most go through it
Mm.
on a weekly basis.
Yeah, hourly basis, I swear.
But it's learning to deal with it, because all you have to do is pick up the phone that one time and it can change it. So just doing that one more rep and you'll get through it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the advice. It's like just treat every day as its own, and then remember why you're doing it:
Yeah,
for the money, for the reward, for the career you're going to get. And if you know that, from whenever you start in the morning to whenever you finish, you've done the work, you've made the calls, you've sent the emails, you've connected with them, and you've done a good job, like, you will get there and you will be successful.
indeed. You just talked about it getting the career that you wanted. Has it?
Mhm. I think so. I'm pretty sure I do. Me personally. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. And like, it's been going great so far.
yeah,
Couple years in, like, I can't believe where I am at now versus where I was, working shifts in a sports center a couple years back to now doing what I'm doing, having, sold and been an SDR to major enterprise companies. I've booked meetings with Amazon and Fox Entertainment and Arsenal Football Club. It's like, it was so fun. Now we're on everything else, and what I've been through in the middle is amazing.
yeah. No, absolutely. Well, I've obviously been very close to that journey, watching you go from strength to strength to strength. And what's so interesting is, you're obviously in the AI recruitment space, with us over at Meritt, um, and you're not just doing sales, right? Like,
No.
it's obviously opened up a lot of doors to you. What would you say from your perspective of those doors that's opened up?
Yeah. Right now, it's opened up a whole host of doors. As an SDR, you get very good at learning your customer, learning how to talk to them, and understanding what those needs and pains and benefits are. Because if you haven't mastered that, you're not going to be a very good SDR. But that is also the key skills that a product manager has, or a marketing manager has, and a customer success manager has. It's all about making sure you know what they want and being able to convince them and work with them to deliver that value.
100% right. It's like the same thing when we're talking about building startups, and it's all about being customer obsessed, right? And the best
Yeah.
salespeople, the best SDRs, they are obsessed with their customers. They know intimately the pains that they have, the value that you can provide to them, so they can really hone in
Mm.
on that perfect, what they call ideal customer profile. And actually, it's so funny. Now we're doing all this stuff with product and marketing and consulting other companies to make the cash come in as well. Like, it's the same everywhere, right? Be customer obsessed. And I think that's just
Yeah.
one key skill that absolutely, is it a
Mhm.
skill even? I don't know, but like, that allows
It's a
to
skill, it's something you can practice.
practice.
I would
Yeah.
agree, yeah.
It is a practice, isn't it?
It is.
And
It
we
is,
have to
and
we have to check it ourselves, right, at times, right? Like, are we acting in the best interests of our customers and candidates? And if we, as long as we keep doing that, you will start to see real value
mhm.
come through, as opposed to like doing things for the spreadsheet or doing things for the revenue. So look, just want to sort of slightly change the tack a bit. You're obviously now working in the AI recruitment space with us over at Merit, and we're hiring for a lot of salespeople. Like, what are you seeing on the market right now that's interesting when it comes to hiring for salespeople, and any advice you'd have for anyone looking to get a job right now?
That's a good question. In terms of the market, there is a lot. There's a whole variety of jobs. One of the things that I've given advice to other people, and I give to other people, like, will suck trying to find a job, but like, you only need to find one. That's it.
Mm,
And trying to find yourself the right company in the right place is an okay journey to go through. But also then think about, what are they looking for. If you think about what a good SDR is, of being customer obsessed, then think about your target audience as a customer. So just tailor that CV. Like, there is experience you have and everything you've done previously. If you've waited tables, or you've worked in a call center or something like that, those skills, like, really make sure to highlight in your CV. And if you have the opportunity through something like Merit to record a video and submit that, then that's fantastic as well. That you have experience that is relevant, and will be interesting to someone. So really make sure to highlight it and show it.
Yeah.
See a lot of CVs where people are like, they've done something cool or something interesting. They're part of a sports team or they had a call center job. That's amazing experience.
Yeah.
They both suck. All those that knowledge and time transfers over so well.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think so. There's quite a lot there to unpack. So on first hand, you're saying, hey, look, you're essentially going for one job. You're not trying to get 10 jobs, right? So
Mhm.
really put in the effort to get that one job, as opposed. So I'm guessing don't click
Mhm.
easy apply on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or at least like just think about what you're going. Be a bit strategic about it.
Yeah, be strategic. And I think so for anyone, there's so much you can do, really, isn't there? You can obviously use like videos using the Merit platform. You can obviously tailor your CV to be specific to that job you're applying for.
Mhm.
You can make sure your cover letter is well written, not chat
Yep.
GPT, please, everybody. It's fairly obvious. Um, all those different things, connecting with the decision makers on LinkedIn. These are things that you should and could be doing to increase your chances of
Mhm.
success. The second piece is, like you say, using technologies like Merit to obviously increase your chances of success using videos. And what was the third
Mhm.
one again? Remind us.
Bring experience from other jobs.
Absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are so many skills that apply.
And I'd
So
say the
like,
reason why you're so good is because you had that foundational learnings in marketing, right? You
yeah,
knew that. Yeah.
Did you know the average salary for an SDI is between £28,000 and £32,000? That's one of the highest entry level jobs out there. The trick is standing out from the crowd to get that role. And with Merit, we make that possible for you. So all you need to do is upload your CV and our AI will build your profile and match you with top companies in seconds. Then ace our video interviews to show off what makes you unique. Don't just apply, get noticed and get hired. So visit merit.io today and take your first step towards a high-paying SDR role. Remember, your future is on Merit.
yeah. And another one that I worked 3 years at sports center, but I was doing my master's degree at the same time. But I've done a 14-hour shift on a Sunday into a week of late shifts into a weekends of lectures. Okay, that is not a direct applicable skill in itself, but that experience of just sitting in that just terrible pit of despair, as you call it,
Grinding
and then
problems. Yeah.
grinding through and getting to that end is something that isn't necessarily a skill, but it's a trait that is makes a good salesperson.
Well, what you're talking about there is grit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that gets lost on, the incoming generation. And maybe I'm just sounding old now, but the one thing that just seems to be lacking is this, you know, power and perseverance to achieve long term goals. I think
Mm.
there's a lot of people coming into this, coming from a degree, not realizing how much work it is, how you have to show up every day at work to be
Yeah,
there, just being there, just grinding through these problems with a smile on your face. Um, it's such an important trait that I just think gets overlooked.
definitely. And I think it's a trait that gets overlooked by hiring managers at times too.
Have you got
You
any
know,
sort of
if you
experience
have
of that?
someone who I take someone who is willing to do that over someone with all the qualifications and experience
Yeah,
who
right.
didn't have that
It's
every
so
single day of the week. Yeah.
interesting. I'm currently consulting for a company that is a low level transactional sales, so it doesn't necessarily require
Mm.
someone with a big brain on them, frankly.
Yeah.
And do you know what's so interesting? They're not Oxford educated. They are just good people on here. They
Mm.
come from maybe the not so greater side of life, but their work ethic is phenomenal.
Mm.
And I'm so used to working with grads from like, Red Brick universities or whatever. And it's so interesting. It's like they do the reps. They're not scared of doing 250 calls a day. And then you've got the ones
Yeah.
that are slightly more educated and they're just like, oh, I have to do what, 50 calls a day, and they struggle doing that, and it's like, oh my god, which would you rather choose as a manager?
Yeah, like the experience then counts for nothing. Like I'm a couple of years out of my degree. I use it a lot in foundational, but really not a huge amount.
Yeah, in
The
sales.
skills I learned there were more about like being critical, like critical thinking, and that's great. I mean, I went to which is one of the worst universities in the country. Probably maybe cut that out. It's not a good
I didn't
university.
go to university, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. I got a couple of C's at
Yeah.
A levels. I didn't do particularly well, but what I learned wasn't the most useful. But it's the peripheral things you learn, you can pick up, and you can bring, and just fucking go out and do it.
Yeah. There's so much. I think Obama talks about people that can get shit done. That is one of the most valuable things, right? For anyone that's listening to this, wondering what they need to do to be successful, you don't have to have a massive degree. You don't have to do anything. You just have to want it more than someone else, and you have to be willing to just grind at it. I say this in my training, as I'm doing some training at the moment. It's like, I will be more successful than you because I want it more than you, not because I'm smarter, not because I'm this or anything. That's irrelevant. Is I just want it more than you. I'm prepared to get up every single time I get knocked down. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's things like I've noticed this with you and the same with other people. I'm like, you will sit in the evening, you'll listen to podcasts, you'll read books on. I mean, you've got a whole host of books behind you. Like, do you have to understand it all? No. And I'm dyslexic as hell, but I still will sit and read books slowly, even though I struggle, because I know that it will make me better.
Yeah, I find
And like
it
2
so
hours
much
of fun
better,
every day.
right? It's so much
Yeah.
better. I'd rather watch like a YouTube video about some crazy shit these AI guys are doing, and I do that every evening as opposed to watching, I don't know, Love Island. I'm now doing talks about AI and HSBC. The reality is I just studied it more than someone else sitting there in the evening. It's amazing what these opportunities can have you just by being curious. We're coming to the end of this very short early morning podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Lucas. Two more questions for you. What are the 3 lessons you would give to young Lucas just starting his sales career today that you would part on to him?
Just keep going. Definitely focus on keep learning. Like, I know I've already said it, and like, don't be afraid to keep networking and keep in contact with people. I'm not necessarily the best at that. Like, after I leave the job or somewhere, I'm getting better at it now. But your network is everything in sales.
100%. Your network is your net worth. It's. I'm sure you've seen it with me, where it's like, oh, I know someone, and that
It's
ability
become
is
very
crazy, huh? It's such an important one that
yeah.
hasn't really been discussed on here. But yeah, I think that's where SDRs go wrong a little bit. Is that they can do all of like these it's like, oh, I've just got to do the motions of running a sequence, running a cadence, doing the calls, doing the emails. But no, get out there, get in front of people, go to events, build connections, make friends.
Yep.
Like, don't expect
And
anything in
also
return, and like this crazy stuff just happens.
you can also speak like if you're an SDR now and you're 20 or 21, then connect with other SDRs, because in 5, 6, 7 years time, if you're around a bunch of other good SDRs, chances are you'll all be good AEs or managers.
It's so
And
true.
then your network that was a whole bunch of SDRs is now a whole bunch of really, really helpful heads of sales.
It's so true. It's so true. One of my friends that was in sales got into RevOps. She then did some work for us over at Iola, if you remember. She did the dashboards. I was looking for a new CRM. 3 years later, like now, she basically introduced me to the CEO of this company. He introduced me to a company that got us a £45,000 deal. And then it looks like one of the SDRs that we work with is now going to be working for said company, which is another good bit of cash for Meritt. And it's like, you could not join those dots going forward, could you? Hell no.
No. And everyone was in different positions and worse positions when the connections were made.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second thing then, Lucas, what's your favourite quote and why?
Yeah, I had a bit of thought about this. The only thing, the main one that comes to mind is from a kid's cartoon.
Go on.
I can't actually remember what cartoon. And I can't remember exactly, but it's like sucking at something's the first step to being sort of good at it.
That is true.
And that is something I like. I know that I personally myself am quite good at is just being shit at things. I'm willing just to suck at things and just to keep going until I'm actually good at it. But you do have to suck at it first.
Good enough is the enemy of perfection. I can hear our executive producer in the background, Jono, again, getting angry that this has been brought up twice now in the last 2 podcasts. Being the perfectionist that he is. Very good, very good. Okay, and the last few minutes, Lucas, as we do, you get to sell yourself. Tell us something. What can we do? How can we connect with you? How can we help you? Sell yourself.
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to share and help people out. If you would want to drop me a message and have me review your CV, look at a load, feel free to send it over, review your videos, or talk about how you might be able to have a career. Send over any of that information. I'm more than happy to talk about it. My LinkedIn, I'm sure, will be linked somewhere.
Absolutely.
Please come and get me.
Yeah, definitely connect with Lucas, guys, if you are looking for any kind of help or experience, looking to break into the sales role or SDR roles. We are actually working on a bunch of roles right now. Whether you listen to this as it's being recorded, we're working on a bunch of roles in the future too. But yeah, so thanks so much, Lucas. A shameless plug for Meritt whilst we're filming. Meritt has just launched its brand new personality sales assessment. This is free to do, and it's really amazing. All you do is film like a 3-minute video. And in that video, you answer a few questions. And essentially, our brand new AI takes all of that and gives you your sales personality profile assessment. It shows you the big 5 key personality traits. It shows you how you communicate, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And that should help you understand how you need to position yourselves in interviews, how you communicate, how you need to be coached, and will make you better at being a salesperson, or at least increase your chances of getting a job. So check it out now. Only takes a couple of minutes. It's free to do. And remember, everybody, your future, it's on Meritt. Thanks so much for joining.
Did you know the average salary for an SDI is between £28,000 and £32,000? That's one of the highest entry-level jobs out there. The trick is standing out from the crowd to get that role. And with Meritt, we make that possible for you. So all you need to do is upload your CV, and our AI will build your profile and match you with top companies in seconds. Then ace our video interviews to show off what makes you unique. Don't just apply, get noticed and get hired. So visit Meritt.io today and take your first step towards a high-paying SDR role. Remember, your future is on Meritt.